All right, so we're here to have a discussion eventually. We went till 11 o'clock last night. We might get out of here by then. I'm Doc. I'm pretty sure you know that. We're going to have a discussion about lean and rich conditions and EGR. I hope you understood the word discussion. We're trying not to have a class here. I'm trying my best not to give an automotive training course where I click slides and say what I want to say. Rich and lean conditions have been a problem since the beginning of time, and so EGR has been a pain in our butt since what, 72, Walter? Yeah, about 72 when they were BB controlled. And so the truth is, it's a discussion. Please share in it, you know. You can keep your cell phones on if you want to. Your cell phone going off does not bother me. I just ask you to say, hey, wait a minute, and go back there somewhere. You're not really going to, even if you got one of them really stupid call signals. All right. I guess I'm told we're going to have a break. We're starting late, and we're still going to get a break. You guys must be special. So I hope you share questions with us, all right? I hope you have input. I was in Massachusetts last night, and they were kind of like you know, just staring at me in the beginning, and then we started rolling and rolling. Then after break, we really kicked it in a high gear. We're having this great discussion. G comes in, you know it's 11. Apparently we didn't, right? I mean, it's a pretty stupid question. But, so, just trying to get you awake here. G puts his, we have jobs. He puts you to sleep, I wake you up. All right, so let's move ahead into our discussion about, do not stare at that picture. Do not stare at it. It will make you crazy. All right? It will absolutely goofify you. So I was recently on a research project, and G calls me right at the end of that research project. He says, hey, will you do EGR stuff in the monthly thing there? And I go, yeah, I'll do that, because I was just had all this paperwork on EGR, and he calls me back real short time, a couple days. He said, would you do lean rich too? And I go, yeah, you want me to do misfire? He goes, no, because the entire project was to look at about 400 vehicles. We did 132. I don't know if you ever do research for different government agencies, but they always have these huge goals set for them. We're going to do 400 cars, and then 132 they come in and say, we ran out of money, we're done. You know, so wrap your paperwork. So we tested misfire, EGR, and lean-rich conditions, and we filled out a Excel sheet on every vehicle that we actually worked on, and we had to give them the vehicle, did it have a mill on, what the code was, whatever problem we found, and whatever problem fixed the car, and then their big question was, does the problem match the code? Because what they really want to do is improve the OBD2 diagnostic test modes 1 through 10, so, and then if we replaced any parts they wanted. I can't give you the printouts because they don't belong to me, and I'm honest. Or it's the fact that they didn't pay me yet, and I don't want to get them angry at me so they can hold my check any longer, right? Baby needs shoes. And I do take tips at break time. So we certainly can share the information. I'm not a guy who really likes case study. Last time I was here, it was that somehow I got talked into doing case studies, and I don't like case studies. I don't care how you diagnose the car. I care how I have to do it, and I'm sure you feel the same way. You don't really care how I diagnose cars. What can I do about it? So, and if you don't like case studies, just sit through them quietly, okay? So on the board, when you walked out in the shop every day, they gave us the formula for the injector pulse width, and that's what this information is about. When the injector pulse width is not enough, we have a what blank condition? Lean, and vice versa for when the pulse width's too big. And they wanted us to work with RPM divided by maximum RPM times MAP divided by barometric pressure with all the modifiers, and they didn't want us to miss anything. Did you, and this discussion, I was going to call it a class, but I don't really want it to be a class. This information here, as we discuss it, actually comes from the second time I was here. The first time I did communications, the second time, I don't know if you remember, I did ignition systems and ignition signals, and this is what it's about. This is, can a bad crankshaft position sensor make a car run too rich or lean? Yes, I heard somebody yell out in a crowd. All right? Can a crankshaft position sensor screw up a EGR? No, I heard somebody crowd. Are you just going to stare at me? You're not going to answer any of these questions? How many people refuse to raise their hand no matter what question I ask? Okay, we're going to switch here then. You guys get in the back. All right, I've seen Deliverance. I'm scared. All right? Can a bad crank sensor cause a misfire condition? So 2 out of 3 is pretty good, you know. So ignition signals are huge. They're really not part of the modifier, but they're part of the other side. We're going to get an injector pulse with, and we're going to get an ignition event. And that ignition event has to be timed right and blah, blah, blah. So we get the explosion in the cylinder? Yes. Really? What don't we want, sir?
We don't want an explosion.
No, we don't want no explosions. What was that? Engine built by the Taliban?
We want a clean burn.
We want a hot expanding gas is what we want. We want to create, and we're not going to do any suck, squeezing, banging, or blowing either. We're going to try to be professionals tonight. We're going to try to really focus on what's right. What is your, who's the sharpest guy in here? Okay, we got Walter at one end. I just started because he did it. I don't usually pick on you. You're the other end. The lowest. No. Okay, we are familiar with long-term field trim. What's your spec for long-term field trim? Plus or minus what is normal? 128. 128. 128. Is he stuck? I'm stuck. Talk about block learn, for God's sake. This is an OBD2 class. I'm shocked. What do you say?
Pardon?
Plus or minus?
Within 10.
Plus or minus 10. How many agree with this gentleman? How many agree with the right answer? Hey, what's he talking about here? No, that's his answer. When I ask what is yours, you could have said 100. You can't be wrong if it's your value. But my value, and I think it should be plus or minus 1. 1. But I'm going to give it a fudge factor because, say it was 2. There's something wrong, right? Do we agree with that? There's something wrong. And we ain't never going to find it. It's so minuscule. Nobody's going to pay us to find that puppy. So I say plus or minus 5. That's what I say, plus or minus 5. Now let's live through the 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I think that 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are findable or diagnostable type problems. So when we talk and we try to focus tonight on what the injector pulse width is, I think that we can really improve our diagnostic ability when we have orange instead of green. Green would be plus or minus 5. Orange would be up to 10. And then I don't think anybody's going to disagree with 11 and beyond is bad. It's just bad, no matter how tight we make it at one end. So when I was here with the ignition, I said the first ignition waveform I taught would have been the 7x signal on a GM, because as a 7x signal comes up, and if you remember, that meant there were 7 events every 360 degrees of crankshaft rotation. And when we had the rising edge and the falling edge, that was the length of the coil charge time. That was the length of the coil charge time. And when we said something about 18x, we said there's got to be 4 rises and 4 falls. So there's got to be 4 vents to get a coil charged. All right, and then when we're on a Chrysler, there's got to be 4 to get a coil charged. So I don't know all of them off the top of my head. Those are the ones I work on a lot, so I remember them. And that is part of this class discussion that we can't talk about. We just really can't deal with ignition much because we're already short on time. So the goal was to find the percentage of DTCs that were set because of computer control, not broken parts. It's hard to have a discussion about computer control without broken parts. It was to look at the OBD2 diagnostic test modes and where they can be improved. And you got to understand that I'm going to try to extract the information, the diagnostic information. I've been here enough that you know that I don't consider myself an automotive technician. I consider myself a diagnostician. I don't care how something works. I really don't care. Oxygen sensors made with zirconium dioxide semiconducting material when heated at 650 degrees and exposed to oxygen will emit a voltage. What? What the hell does that mean? How do I get that? How do I get that information? Did you ever get a call that said not enough zirconium dioxide on the sensor? But did you ever get one that said the voltage ain't right? Okay, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I don't care that zirconium dioxide has 2 negative isotopes. What the hell's an isotope? I don't care there's only 2 mines in the world that can mine it. I don't care about that. I care about the voltage. So there's several first steps depending on, you know, people catch me doing this all the time. Well, you know, the first step should be, and then like an hour later I'll go, well, the first step should be something different. But that's because we're talking about a different problem, you know. So we're talking about computer control. Boom. That's the introduction. We are going to try to have a discussion about computer control. Things that we don't already know. But we got to add some of the things we already know. So there's going to be some, you know, some people say, is this advanced or is this a basic? And I always thought that reverse of advanced was retarded. You know, I'm an ignition guy. That's funny. I don't care. If you don't want to laugh, don't laugh. You can just be mean and ornery all your life. That's why you're so fat. So down and dirty first steps. I walk into Argonne National Laboratory. Been there many times. Been there a lot. I've done enough research there that I'm familiar with the place. And so we always get the rules straight before we start anything. We're going to do this. We really want to try to improve some of the diagnostic test modes. We want the computer to do more diagnostics more accurately and faster. Faster? Did I say faster? I said faster? How many people here have ever went to OBD2 diagnostic test mode 4, you know, clear codes? Went to diagnostic test mode 4 just to clear it to see if it would come back. How many people here are lying? Come on, how many people have done that? Everybody. Yeah. Then it comes back like 0.7 of a second. That's humbling. You've been on it 3 hours. You're going to clear it, see if it comes back. Boom, it comes back. That's humbling. I don't know if we can make it any faster, but I'm pretty sure we can make it gooder. So computer control, I'm from Indiana, gooder is acceptable. It's where the toothbrush was invented. If it would have been invented in any other state, they would have called it the teeth brush. Work on that. I'm going to do something with computer control. And this is a diagnostic step for me. It is one of my first diagnostic steps. If I have a code or something attracting me to a computer control problem, if I'm thinking I have a control problem, I'm going to look at the calculated engine PID, load PID, and what do I expect to see at idle? That's where I'm going to look at it, at idle. What do I expect to see? Huh? It's one of those with the black round things on each corner. It's different. Okay, I would absolutely go with that. It's going to be different on everything. But you got to come up with a number. What's your number? What's your number? So the PCM, if it has a good calculated engine load, is it being logical? Yes, it is. I can't wait tonight for you to answer the questions. If you think I'm butting in, I am. All right? So we're looking at ways to improve the OBD2 diagnostic test modes. I'm saying, okay, I want this computer to be able to self-test itself. So calculated load is a fast and down and dirty thing I will do when I'm thinking about computer control. And my number's 20. I want it to be within 20% at idle. And some people, and I like that the fact that you're here, I didn't say I like you, but I like the fact that you're here because some people go, well, they can't be 20% at idle. It just can't be. Bull, am I lying? On some cars,